Babe, I'm ready to be a gravel badass. Hey, I'm Erin. I'm here with Micah, gravel badass #1, graphic designer extraordinaire here in Akron, Ohio. Also, bike commuter and adventurer extraordinaire. Would you like to add anything to that?
It's just very extraordinaire. Yeah, I'll take it.
Let's ride bikes.
All right.
So Micah,
What's up?
how did you become a bicycle rider?
Well, I think in my adult, we'll probably skip into the adult life.
Yeah.
Time period.
I mean, we all rode bikes when we were 12.
Right, exactly. So about 5 years ago, I started riding my bike with my dad a little bit, just as a chance to hang out with each other. And then I went on the Otis Roubaix, I think it was 2018. And it was a snowy day, big group of people came out, some ACR coffee shop people came out, and I was really, that morning wasn't sure that I was gonna do it because it was so cold and snowy out. And but then a couple of us messaged each other and we're like, yeah, let's just go have some fun. And I remember Otis in his intro statement said, let's go enjoy the topography of Summit County. Because as a new rider, I was really intimidated by the hilliness.
Oh,
you know, like you're
interesting.
just starting to build up some strength, and then all of a sudden you got these hills. It really put me off. So went out, rode with people, had a blast, rode on all these crazy locations, lots of gnarly climbs, and it was so fun and inspiring. I went right home and I signed up for the MS 150 ride.
What?
That goes from like just north of Pittsburgh and ends in my hometown of Conneaut.
All right, I would like to pause you here just to clarify for the viewers that the Otis Roubaix is like 40 miles.
Yes.
Okay, so you went home, you signed up for a 150-mile ride.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But that was like June 4th or something. So this was early April, late March. And I was just like, holy crap, I just did that. Okay. And so that kind of clicked me into gear of wanting to ride more and make it more of a lifestyle thing.
Okay.
So that was what got me really rolling.
That's interesting. I thought we had this conversation, but clearly we have not. So what did April till June look like? Like, how did you go? Like, how fit were you? How did you go from hopping on a bike for Otis Roubaix to 150 miles?
Yeah, I knew I'd ridden a bit the year before, but got so frustrated because then winter came and I just stopped riding. And I'd asked a couple people like Tim and our buddy Albert, what do you guys do to stay fit over the winter time? Isn't it frustrating? And I got various advice. Albert told me to watch Bollywood movies while I was riding on my trainer. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I just, from April to June, just tried to get out and ride. And a couple of times I would like ride through the valley, purposely doing some real climby, distant rides to build up some strength and tolerance. But when it came down to it, the MS 150 ride was just pretty painful. And just one of those things that, you know, you just had to grit your teeth and get through. But it was really inspiring to complete it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, origin to now, how would you say your riding has evolved? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because just last weekend I did the MS 150 ride for the second time. So I hadn't done it since 2018. This time I decided I would ride from Akron to the starting line, which is 100 miles.
Of course you would.
Do the ride, and then ride home from Conneaut, which is 100 miles. And the crazy thing was, I just didn't, my body felt great the whole time. That is not a brag. I was so like amazed at what consistent riding had done over time. And just learning from the Akron community of cyclists, you included, of course, just the joy people get from riding and like the the fearlessness of facing any sort of terrain like this, knowing what it is to go on long rides, how to break it up and stay happy instead of getting into like a roadie mindset. All those things paid dividends every single day. Several times people would zip by me. A couple of times people were like, dude, what's your deal? You passed me 15 miles ago, now I'm back on you. You just taking your time? You know, like really weird, aggressive statements.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying like, ride your ride, have fun.
Yeah.
It's not a race. You're just here to have fun and make this thing happen. And I learned a lot of that from just riding with people like you, Tim, Albert, the whole rat crew. So it was very gratifying.
So you are a year-round rider now.
Yeah.
And like a daily rider.
Yeah.
So you commute to work, and not only that, but you add extra miles on.
Yeah.
Aren't there ever days where you're like, I don't want to?
Definitely. Today was one of those days my legs were just like lead. And I guess my background is, Erin, that there are not a lot of things that I continue to do in life habitually that don't have some sort of purpose or... Did I get you? Sorry. If I can't do it to a point that I feel is the edge of my ability, then it usually doesn't last very long. And that's not a great thing.
Right, right.
Sometimes there's good payoffs there, like cycling has been something that's been really beneficial. But it also means I don't pursue a lot of things that are like cool, fun, frivolous,
Right.
you know, just try it once type of things. That's definitely how cycling has become a commuter thing that is daily and really goal-oriented. Yeah.
So that general psychology is in play, but are there like other like goals or like self-challenges that are more like longer games that help keep you at it?
Yeah, for sure. I think the whole data surrounding cycling is one of the big motivators. Really like to see that progression of accumulation.
Yeah.
And I've never really set an ultimate annual like mileage goal, but it is motivating to see each year when that mileage goes up.
Yeah.
But that's not sustainable. You know, you're gonna hit a peak. For me, it was the COVID year of 2020. That was such a unique year and just had the ability to ride as much as I wanted to. And I knew I couldn't do that in the future. So last year, I was just curious to see what a normal-ish year looked like. Then this year, really paid attention to elevation per mile.
Yeah.
And the spreadsheet you put together that allows me to track year by year and then be able to track data within that year has been so cool to be able to see things like that. Like how many feet am I climbing per mile and how can I push that as a new goal?
Yeah.
That really gets me excited and makes me want to go extra miles or take the longer route, more challenging route.
That piece that I built into the spreadsheet that is like elevation per mile, that ratio. Yeah. That's like, I mean, I have other goals, but that's the one that I'm like really trying to focus on.
Yeah.
Because you're actually an excellent hill climber. I am not, and I hate it. But like my internal mantra is like, this horror will eventually make future hills easier.
Yeah, right.
So like when I see that number, like a higher number for a ride or a month, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I may not be seeing the gains, but I know I'm putting in the work to eventually see that improvement.
Well, and I'm sure it's happened to you already, where there's a little less intimidation, or you know there's a purpose to it. Can I clear this?
Whoa!
Not quite. I did. Yeah, that's the whole thing is like, first of all, at any point, we could jump in a car and drive somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. So if as a fully grown adult, you're gonna go out for your ride, why not make it a little more challenging?
Yeah.
And then feel the struggle of that, but also the real gratitude of like, holy crap.
Well, and I think that when you are riding and you're not like an athlete, like,
Right.
and you don't have like a whole coach team,
Nope.
or all of the science behind you, like you went out on this ride to Pennsylvania and you were like surprised by how well you did.
Yeah.
And so like you don't notice on a daily basis what you're building towards.
Right.
And like my psychology is like I need instant gratification.
Sure.
And so the data gives me that instant gratification when my body can't.
Right.
Because that's just not how bodies work.
It's not how bodies work. Yep. That's just it. It's you get to remain an athlete or within the sphere of athletes, wherever you are on the spectrum, because you're doing something in your daily life that is athletically engaged.
Yeah.
But you can have, like, today I was just puttering around because it was hot, it was humid.
Yeah.
I didn't feel great. And it was fine. It was like, I'm still spinning the wheels.
Yeah.
Just keep it going. And tomorrow you'll probably feel better, you know? But it is a mind game too. It's a very psychologically engaged sport. I'm sure all of them are.
What would do you have a dream trip or a like challenge that you are building towards? Like either just like logistically, like, oh, I gotta save money for 6 months to do this, or
yeah,
I have to wait 6 months till I have the time to do this, or like I need to like tighten it up on my hills or
right,
whatever to be physically capable of doing this.
Well, I've definitely, in the past couple of years of bike adventures, found my edge and found my wall. So it's funny you say that, because in a lot of my life, I am very goal-oriented. Like, I may not set concrete goals of I want this specific thing, but it's something a little more ethereal that I reach for. And for cycling, I think it's more of I just want to continue to do it daily and be prepared. Mm-hmm. Maybe this goes back to like my Christian upbringing of they always told you like you might hear that knock at the door any day now, and that could be Jesus. You better be ready. Like that was boot camp for Sunday school. I think that's maybe the Sunday school of cycling is I just want to be ready for anything. So if you guys right now are like, hey, we're just going to keep rolling until we get wherever, you know, we're headed south until we get to Tuscazor. I want to know I could do that and not really have to break a sweat about it and not let people down, but not let myself down too. I think that's where my cycling psychology really lays in is if you do it every day, you won't be the one that holds the pack back. Yeah. Maybe you can help somebody through. You can have a great time while you're doing it. And you're always going to be fit and ready for the next big ride. So yeah, I don't have like a tick list of rides to do, but I want to be ready for the next big one that comes for sure. It's beautiful sunlight. Yeah. Cool. Sitting tickle. Oh, thank you. Nice.
So Micah, it sounds like at some point you did feel like unprepared, either physically or bike-wise or gear-wise or just experience-wise. But it also sounds like you're not, well, I don't want to say that. Like, were you also ever intimidated?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what would be like your advice for somebody in those situations who's still like new or struggling in some way? Like, I have a lot of self-esteem issues about my hill climbing and riding with people who are so much stronger than I am. And like, I try to like find that balance of like not taking that too seriously, but also trying to improve so that like I have less potential guilt when I do ride.
So this is totally hindsight is 2020. People are far less annoyed with you than you think they are, and than you are of yourself. And a lot of that has to do with surrounding yourself with the right group of riders. I think you nailed it. None of us are athletes looking to compete in races. I think there's a lot of competitive people in our cycling crew, but it's a competition of like, even if it's competition with another person in the group, it's really solely to push you forward. It's not to defeat somebody else. It's like the jackrabbit running out in front of the greyhounds.
Right.
You're like, I want to reach that. That looks amazing. That's that's part of my story that I didn't mention of getting into cycling, was seeing people like Tim and Ben riding all year and just showing up to cool events on their bikes. And I was like, I really want that. That looks like a great lifestyle. There's such an ethic to that. And so that's kind of a competition, or it stirs the same type of things, but it's not a negative side of it. So when you surround yourself with people that I think have that positive energy and just a desire to get out and ride, they're probably just really cool with you riding with them. And if they want to ride fast and blast a hill, they'll go do that with a different group or on their own. There's a lot of rides out there to have. And I experienced this when I was first starting to ride, especially when people invited me on a ride or I joined up on the ride, they knew that I was just going to ride at a different pace than they did because I didn't have that skill. And that was really cool with them. And it didn't necessarily hold them back. I remember seeing Albert gaining speed up hills. And that became a goal for me. I was like, I want to get to the point of strength where I'm not just dead legging it up this hill and trying to turn every pedal. I actually want to speed up a hill. It takes a long time to do. May not be possible, but it was really fun to work towards. So it does take a lot of trust, I think, in the group that you ride with, and also the knowledge that sometimes you got to ride by yourself and build up that strength on your own and get comfortable with that. But then trust people that if you need to ride at your own pace, that they're going to respect you enough to let you do that. But it takes a relationship.
Yeah.
So ride with people that you can have a relationship with, because you're going to get a flat tire, your bike's going to break, you're going to break. And if you're surrounded by people that aren't interested in you, you're going to be left alone a lot.
Yeah.
So start there with the relationships.
One last question. Going back to your mention of competition, how did it feel a couple weeks ago when Ben took your KOM on this segment?
Yeah, initial feeling was like, shit, oh man, I don't have many of those left. And I'm not getting many of those anymore. But then immediately after that, I have ultimate respect for that dude. So I was shocked I had it for that long. And considering I almost vomited the time that I got the KOM, there's nothing more I can give. I don't know how it happened.
It was like 24 miles per hour or more than that or something.
Yeah, when I got it, it was a day after school. I felt great. I was on this bike, but I had slick tires on it. Maybe the wind was at my back. I don't know, but I felt great. And I was like, I'm going for it. I didn't even have a bike computer. I just was blindly riding.
You just gave it all you got.
I just gave it. And I knew where the route ended. And I blasted past that, but truly was like dry heaving as I was finishing, like in the red. And I think I got the KOM by maybe a few seconds and was just so psyched. So yeah, it's all his. It is all his. It's not coming back. Cheers, Ben.
All right, well, Micah, thank you for riding with me. Thank you for chatting with me. Thank you for sharing your gravel badassness with the viewers.
Thank you, Erin. Cheers.
Cheers. Like and subscribe.